I want everyone in here to remember, what was the first thought that you had of me the first time you saw me? First time you laid eyes on me, what was the first thought that ran through your head? I don't want you to tell me, but I do want you to remember your first thought. Some people, the first time they see me, their first thought is, oh, that guy in a wheelchair. Other people, the first time they see me, their first thought is, he doesn't have any arms or legs. Some people are like, oh, that poor guy, he probably can't do anything. I feel so sorry for him. Some people, the first time they see me, their very first thought is, he's pretty good looking. But I don't care what you were thinking, but I do want you to remember your first thought of me, because when I'm done with this program, I'd like for you to rewind back, take a look at that first thought of me, and then I want you to compare that to how you feel about me after this program. So if you can do me that favor, remember your first thought. Now, I'd like a couple people in here to give me, not necessarily your definition, but what do you think the average person in society would give as the definition of handicapped? If you have a good definition or would like to simply make one up, please go like this. And I would call on you. Now, I want two really short definitions. Now, if I do not get any volunteers, I do get victims. So not maintaining eye contact with me does not help you whatsoever. There was, just for example, there's 3 ladies in the front row went like this. You got a definition? Okay, so something that you're missing that would make you less capable. Okay, good one. Wait, another one. One more over here. Different than normal. See, those are good definitions. You know what? I'd give you a thumbs up, but I might hurt myself, you know. Yeah, hitchhiking didn't work for me either, you know what I mean? Sit alongside the highway. I could sit out there for hours or days. The cars keep flying by, you know. I was funny like, can't get in trouble for that one, can I? All them years back when I was in school, the teachers thought I was waving at them. All right, I tell you what, now that I know that I have your attention, tell you what, I travel all over the world doing this program. I've been from Connecticut to California, Canada to Mexico. I have been to Japan, Okinawa, Panama, Switzerland, and Aruba. Doing programs just about like this. And everywhere I go, I ask for the definition of handicap. I almost always get a few people say a handicap is someone who can't, or someone who's unable, somebody who's different, someone who's in a wheelchair that needs help. For some reason, I keep getting definitions like somebody who's missing parts a lot. I don't know why. I even had a middle school boy who was clearing the back of the room, and he's like, oh, I got one who picked me. Now, I didn't really want to call on this student because I could tell he had a doozy, you know what I mean? Oh, no, you could see it in his eyes. So I'm trying to ignore this little guy, and the more I tried to ignore him, the more he sat in the back of the room going, he's doing everything he can do to get my attention, so my curiosity gets the best of me. I called on this little guy. He stands up and he goes, a handicap's kind of like somebody who's like, you know, messed up. No, you know what I mean? The kind of people go around, they're always going, hen there. Now, that was his definition of handicap. I seriously doubt that a dictionary is going to use words like hen there. But that's what he thought a handicap was. Now, back when I was just a little guy. All right, so I'm not that big now. Back when I was a little guy, I thought that's what a handicap was. Someone who can't, someone who's unable, somebody who's different, in a wheelchair, missing parts, whatever. Until I read the definition of handicap in the dictionary. The dictionary that I read said that a handicap is something that will slow you down, something that will get in your way, or something that will more than likely stop you completely. Ladies and gentlemen, it said nothing about someone. Now, last time I checked, I was a person, not a thing. So once I figured out that I was a handicap, I started doing a lot of things like my friends were doing. One of the first things that I decided to do was get out of the wheelchair. Whoa. How do you do that? Now, wait, I know what a couple of you might be thinking. I know this because I've done this program a bunch of times before. I was doing this program one day, I believe it was at an elementary school, and I jumped up on the table, and this little itty-bitty elementary student was like, well, he must have some kind of bat spring or something. Some people actually believe that for me to get out of that wheelchair that I got to hit a big red button so that this big giant spring shoots my butt right out of the chair. For me to get out of that wheelchair, there is no big red button. There's no big spring. I just take my leg and I kick off. And sometimes, though, when I'm in the air, I have to do a little bit of guiding. Now, for me to get around without my wheelchair, for me to run, I hop. Kind of looks like this. I know it looks goofy, but it works. So I'm hopping along, keeping up with my friends. One day in middle school, my friends come running up to me, and they're like, Brett, because I'm on the floor. Brett, they got signed up for basketball. I was like, cool, where's the line? So I signed up for basketball. Now, my coach had been my teacher for some time, so he knew my potential. So next thing I know, I'm point guard on the basketball team. Now, most people naturally assume that for me to get a basketball all the way down court quickly, that I have to use my electric wheelchair. So let's say I tried that. There is a couple problems with that, though. First of all, that wheelchair weighs 420 pounds. Secondly, that chair goes 11.5 miles per hour. That little sucker gets it. So my teammates would run up, they'd take the ball, they'd put it in my lap. I'd hit that joystick on my wheelchair, full throttle. Whee! That worked great until one day some guy on the other team jumped in front of me and tried to block me. Big mistake. I wasn't stopping. Matter of fact, I'm holding the joystick down. I wonder if they're going to call me for charging. I believe it went down something like this. It was like, whee! Oh, sorry, dude. I hit that guy like a speed bump. Matter of fact, I think I even cut air off of him. I look back and the poor guy's laying on the ground. He's got tire marks on his forehead. I pulled back up to him. I was like, dude, they look like that hurt. The basketball officials, they grabbed me and they pulled me off to the side and they said, Brett. I said, yes. They said, hey, man, we can't let you use that wheelchair to play ball. It's too dangerous. I said, for who? It's not bothering me any. They said, hey, we can't let you use that chair to play ball, and we're really sorry that you're not going to be able to play. I said, wait a minute. You don't know me very well then, do you? I don't need that chair to play ball. I just thought it'd be faster and easier. You're the dummies, let me take it out there. So for me to play ball without my chair, for me to run, I hop. And I already showed you that part, so I'm not doing that again. But for me to dribble a basketball, personally, I don't think it's all that big of a deal. But you have to understand that the other team probably figures that because I don't have any hands, that there is no way that I can hang on, control, or manipulate this ball. Matter of fact, the other team probably figures that because I don't have any hands, that I will get partway down court, and the ball will just simply roll away from me, so they can pick it up and go make their 2 points, and never even have to touch me. Because if he looks like that and he's missing parts, he must be contagious too. I don't think everybody thinks that. But I do know that some people actually believe that because I don't have arms or legs, that if they touch me, that their arms and legs are going to fall off. I found that out when I go to the mall. You see, when I go to the mall, I do not go shopping. I go cruising. I have wheels. No kidding, guys. It does not matter how old you are. If you've got wheels, you can pick up chicks. No, I know. Even when I was in kindergarten, I had this little itty bitty electric wheelchair. My wheelchair was only this big. And I was like, "Eep." Get on, babe. So anyway, one day I was in the mall and I got too close to somebody. They turned around and realized that I had almost touched them or they had almost touched me. So when they saw me, their natural reaction was, you know what I like to do to people like that? I like to go up to them and touch them on the arm and go, you got it, you got it. So the other team didn't want to get what I had. Besides that, they had never seen anyone run on their buns before. So as I went hopping by, here's what the other team did. They stood there and let me go right on by. I got past the other team, past the timeline, dribbled the ball, bounced it up in the air, caught it on my arm, and I threw it to a teammate. Second row there, sir, you're going to be my teammate. Ready? Oop, are you? Okay, third row. Okay, good catch there, third row. Whatever you do, please do not throw that back at me. Just go ahead and sit on the ground because I don't trust you. No, I made that mistake before. I was doing this program one day, took the ball, threw it out in the crowd. I forgot all about it. I was like, poof. That's not funny. All right, it's a little funny. So the other team probably figures because I don't have any hands that there is no possible way that I can throw the ball that far, so they do not need to guard my teammate standing underneath the basket. Besides that, they're having too much fun watching me hop down court. So I get past the other team, past the timeline, take the ball, throw it to my teammate. My teammate's wide open. They get the ball, boom, 2 points. Every time I hit the floor, my team made 2 points. I was like my coach's little secret weapon. My coach is like, hey, we need 2 more points to stay in the game. I don't know. Put the stub out there. He'll get it for us. That was my nickname, by the way. I don't know why. But we won a lot of games that way, and here's why. I gave the other team the handicap. And the whole time that the other team had the handicap, they thought that it was my team with the handicap. But how could it have been my team with the handicap when it was my team that won? I believe you're handicapped only if you choose to be. I also believe that there's only one person in this room that can stop you from doing what you truly want to do in life, and that is, it's yourself. You already know that. The question is, are you using that information? Are you still using dumb excuses of why you can't get done what you truly want to do? To me, it's as simple as that. When you say, I can't, you're right, because you're not even going to try. All right. Now, I'm going to do two quick demos for you, but before that, I'm going to open this can of cola. Open it for 2 reasons. I want to show you is that I can do it and it can be done. The other reason, I'm thirsty. Do not try this at home. I am a highly trained professional. Okay. First demo. I went out for Taekwondo. And in Taekwondo, they teach you how to break boards. Now, the reason they do this, if you can hit one of these boards hard enough, with enough energy, velocity, and follow through to snap the board, you are making a proper strike. And if you can make a proper strike, then if you ever get attacked by a tree, you know you'll be safe. Ha! Thank you. First time I went to break a board like that, they held that board up there and I hit that board with everything I had. Wham! And put a dent in the board. And hurt this arm really, really badly. So my instructor says, Brett, you are afraid of the board. Pardon me, sir. I mean, absolutely no disrespect. But did you not see the 3 dents in the board? He said, yeah, I saw the dents. He goes, the problem is your brain and everybody else's brain has a safety mechanism in it. And as you're swinging at the board, that part of your brain slows your body down just enough so you do not break your hand or your arm trying to break the board. But that part of your brain does not understand that if you do hit that board hard enough, with enough energy, velocity, and follow through to snap the board, that's how you have to break the board. So if you trick that part of your brain and pretend that board is 3 inches lower than it really is, you can trick that part of your brain, and you will not slow down until after you stuck the board. Secondly, you have to remember to believe or picture in your brain that you're actually sticking your arm through that board. I believe that anyone in this room can break one of those boards with the proper amount of training and practice. But you have to know how to do it properly. You have to believe you can. And you also, as long as you say, I can't, when you do say that, it's over because you're not even going to try. Now, I do want to do a quick drawing because a lot of people want to know how I write and draw. So, do a quick drawing for you. I don't know why that part's funny, but it always is. My own personal elevator, I guess. Now, I do want to show everybody the paper that I'm going to draw on because there's almost always one guy in every crowd. Usually a guy that says, he didn't really draw that, it was already on there. So to prove that one person wrong, there's nothing on the paper, either side. That's the joke you guys are going to laugh the loudest at. Thank you. I appreciate that. See ya. That's a circle. Okay. I'll show you the drawing. Just kidding. All right, this is my little buddy. I call him Sneaky Snake. Thank you. My little tiny, he's a little tiny rattlesnake I invented when I was in middle school. But how many people in here could draw this? Raise your hand. 2 people? All right, for those of you who did not raise your hand, you're missing the point of this program. What have I been sitting up here talking about all this time? I'm up here telling you that you're handicapped only if you choose to be, that you can do anything you set your mind to. And you know what? Almost everyone in here is like, yeah, that guy's right on. He knows what he's talking about. Then I ask you, can you draw this? And you're like, no. I guarantee you the only thing in this drawing is circles, squigglies, and a couple lines. And I know you can all draw that. So if you just broke it down into those shapes, how many people in here believe that they could draw that? Raise your hand. All right, slight turn over there, I think. All right, I do want to leave you with one last thing. But before I do that, if you want to learn any more about me, just go to BrettEastburn.com, and you can learn it there. But I want to leave you with this. I get asked all the time, Brett, where do you find the strength? Where do you find the energy to do this kind of stuff day in and day out with no arms and legs? Matter of fact, I get asked all the time, if I didn't have arms and legs, I don't think I could do what you do. I'll let you in on a little secret. You see, I was born this way. There's no medical reason why. It was not thalidomide or anything like that of why I was born this way, which backs up the way I believe even more. I believe that God made me this way and let me live in America, the land of the free, so that I can do what I want to do, have fun doing it, and then come here and show you that you can do anything that you truly want to do. That's why I was born this way, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you.